This is Matt for Boxing Social in association with William Hill and Empire Fight Storm. Delighted to be joined by Frank Warren. Frank, it's been a while. I think the last two times we spoke, you weren't in the best of health with your back and you had a bit of a cold. How's things? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm all good. I'm much better than I was, that's for sure. So I'm mobile now, and yeah, I'm out. But I've got out of the house. I'm in the office today, so I'm pleased with that. I'm no longer home doing the washing up and the hoovering and whatever. And I've got rid of my marigolds.
You celebrated your birthday recently. How do you feel? Another chapter.
Old,
Oh, you're still in the game though, still doing it?
just about. I'm hanging on like fingertips, hanging on.
Well, look, happy birthday for the other day.
Thank
Let's
you.
let's dive straight into it, and we've got to obviously touch on Jake Paul, Tommy Fury. Can I just get your reaction to what was an incredible event, an eight-rounder, but it had every superstar in the world around the ring in terms of Ronaldo, Kevin Hart, I believe in, and other people as well. Just an incredible event in the Middle East.
It was. I mean, when you look at it, if you stand back and look at it, it was an 8-round fight between two guys who are pretty much novice fighters
Yeah.
as far as professionals concerned. Tommy had 8 fights, and obviously, Jake had 6, I think, and 2 of those were, including the one that Tommy was fighting. Tommy were the first time he was licensed by a what you'd call proper commission, boxing commission. So it was amazing, and it was there because it was, I suppose, what was it there? It happened because Jake's got this massive social media following that he's built up over the years through, not through boxing, through his what I call modern day candid camera, his pranks and so forth. And he built it up, and he decided he wanted to fight. And he trains like a fighter. He works hard to be a fighter. As I say, he's taken a license out now, and people have bought into that. And you got Tommy, Love Island. He's obviously got the famous name, the fighting name Fury, as his his older brother is Tyson, as we all know, and people bought into it. And good luck to them. They both, for me, it was fantastic that what they've managed to achieve. And if people hadn't bought into it, it wouldn't have done the business it's done. It's done fantastic business on pay-per-view, and obviously it attracted the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to get involved and to put the money up to promote the fight there. So it's just I take my hat off to both of them, and it was it was a competitive fight for the level it was at. Very competitive fight. I always fancied Tommy to win the fight, but I take my hat off to Jake to making it a competitive fight between the two of them. And as I say, you said, I should say, everybody turned up for it, the whole world. I mean, it's like a world championship fight, which wasn't a world championship fight.
Yeah.
I know it upset a few boxers. A few boxers were moaning about it, but look, it was there, and it brought all these people in to see it. And that's what they managed to do. And and good luck to them. I don't know why anybody should be upset about it. We're not being fooled that it was a world title fight. No one's being fooled by that. We know what it was, and they managed to generate huge income for the both of them. So good luck to them.
Do you think, in a way, the blueprint was almost given to the boxing world as if to say, look, you don't have to not be yourself, but put yourself out there, show people your personality, do this equals more money, more tickets, things like that, doesn't it?
Well, it does, and it works sometimes. It doesn't work all the time. I mean, you've got to look at, one of the big sort of, over the years, somebody who's been doing that on a regular basis has been Floyd Mayweather. For many, many years, doing these exhibitions against guys, crossover matches, UFC and so forth, and done great business. Yet they put a show on at the O2 on the Saturday night on the eve of the fight. The place was dead as a door now. They didn't sell tickets, and the streaming, which we're told is the future, didn't work. It didn't do any business at all. So it's it works and it doesn't work. It's like same as boxing matches. They work and then they don't work. So you scratch your head sometimes and wonder, well, that's a good fight. Why haven't people bought into it and so forth? So, at the moment, the flavor was Jake and Tommy, and I think the rematch will probably do great business and hopefully get carried on. But it's not a foregone conclusion like everybody seems to think that this is the future of boxing. The future of boxing are good fights. competitive fights, big fights. That's the way forward. And for Tommy now, who is the victor, he's got to make a decision what he wants to do. And I'm sure he's going to go where the money is, because that's what I would do if I was him. And the rematch of maybe these other fights. And it's the expectation level, if he doesn't do that, what he will get paid and who he will fight.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
I was just going to come on to that, because he's going to be, providing this rematch happens and touch wood, Tommy comes out victorious, he's going to be in a bit of a crossroads with his own head in terms of what he wants to do. Does he want to achieve in professional boxing, or does he want to step over that line and go KSI, because I know I'm going to get a ton more money? So is it going to come down to what he wants?
Well, he'll do whatever he wants to do. I mean, it's his career. He's the guy getting in the ring. He'll make his own decisions. He's made a lot of money. He made a lot of money out of that fight. He'll make even more money from the next one. And I'm sure if he beats Jake again, there'll be another big one for him. And those fights can absolutely ensure that his future, his financial future, him and his family's financial future security is there. And then maybe he'll step back and say, right, you know what? Now I want to get back to doing what I set out to be, was to win a British, European and world title. But you can't blame him, and I'd do it if I was in his position, to go where he can achieve and get the most money at the moment. He's a young man, and you're getting punched in the head. That's not going to distinguish whether it's a YouTube hit and you're a world champion, but at the end of the day, it's how much money you can earn.
100%.
Professional boxing.
100%. Finally, just on this sort of saga, do you think Jake Paul will pay his bet?
Well, I mean, I know they called the bet. The bet was agreed. I don't know where it went from there, and I don't know whether he owes it or not, because they were going to sign something. I don't know whether it's signed. I've got no idea. It's not my business. Let them get on with it.
Right. Well, let's move on. I've got to ask you this, even though I know we've not had much news on it. Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Usyk. I know things were sort of in the pipeline. Are things looking positive? Should we just say that?
Well, we're getting to a situation where one way or another, we're going to have to make a decision, and then we're not far off of that.
Okay, we'll move on from that. You've got an incredible lineup and schedule coming up. You've got Nathan Heaney returning to Stoke in that rematch with Flatley. That's going to be an incredible atmosphere there. I've just seen a post from him earlier. He sold thousands of tickets. How excited and pleased are you to bring Nathan back to Stoke in what's going to be?
I'm very, very, very excited. He's a lovely guy, and he works hard at it. He's another one who works hard at his promotion, sells tickets. I mean, he's Mr. He's the guy, isn't he, in Stoke? He's Mr. Stoke, and they love him, and he's worked very hard at that. It's not just happened. He's devoted a lot of time to and energy, and his personality as being a good guy and a top guy has come across in as much that the fans come out and support him. And more importantly, they're going to be all able to sing Delilah.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not Welsh rugby. Delilah.
Where do you see the future for Nathan Heaney? Obviously, we know he's got this reputation as a ticket seller, but he's having this rematch. Touch when he gets past Flatley. If he does, what do you see next for him?
Look, it's a tough fight, and I hope he comes through it, and hopefully he will do that. But I think up to now he's done everything that's been asked of him and looked good doing it. What do I see? I'd love us to be in the summer delivering a world title fight in Stoke for him. That's where and what we want to be doing. A title fight in Stoke at the ground. That's his. Look, we've done it for all our other guys. Carl Frampton, his dream was the world title fight in Belfast. We delivered for him. We've done it for so many fighters. Leeds with Josh Warrington. He wanted to fight at Leeds and his beloved football ground and Ellen Road. We delivered.
Yeah.
Done it for our fighters. We always get behind them and we deliver. If they keep winning, we get there at the end for them.
After that card, obviously, it follows on to the juggernaut, Joe Joyce, which, by the way, stacked card. Is this one of the best cards you put on in terms of talent and all the different levels? Sam Noakes, we've had the addition of Michaela Mayer, but Dennis McCann, Denzel Bentley. It's a good night of boxing.
It's a bloody good night of boxing, and the main event's a good fight. Yeah. Joe's the WBO interim champion, which means he's the mandatory to Usyk, or if Tyson fights him, the winner of that fight. Mm-hmm. The first, he's in there as the mandatory defense. And for him not to just take a mark in time fight, to jump in with Zangers, I see him in that last fight against Hrgovic, who everybody was raving about Hrgovic. I thought he won the fight. I thought it was a bad decision. And he, didn't even blink. That's who I want. So we've made that fight. Got great amateur pedigree to both of them in their respective Olympics. They both won silver medals.
Yeah.
So, that's the quality of the guys, and their styles are pretty similar. I mean, what you're going to get with them two is that they're just going to walk forward, and that's going to be a bang up.
Have you seen a more impressive 15-fight record than Joe Joyce? He's obviously had that Olympic background, but he's come in and he's just took name after name after name, and
he has. And you're absolutely. I'm sorry to interrupt you, and you have. He has done that. He's done that. He's not asked for any favors or anything.
Yeah.
He's, as you say, he's come in and he's picked guys. And I mean, that last fight has got to be one of the fights of the year. That was a good fight against a guy who'd never been stopped in Joseph Parker.
Yeah.
And he was the first man to do it. And he took a couple of big shots himself in that fight.
Yeah, I have to say I was ringside for that fight, and I've seen Joe before, but not as close. And
yeah,
a shot from Parker, which I think would have put most heavyweights down or at least stumbled. And the expression on his face didn't change and just carried on. It was like a machine. I was like, incredible.
He is. He's got the most apt name in boxing, Juggernaut.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he is. You don't want him to keep coming towards you on top of you.
When we look at the heavyweight division now, obviously we know Tyson Fury, Usyk, touch wood that fight gets made, but the other boys in the division, you look at Deontay Wilder, who's going to come back into it. Could you imagine Joyce versus Wilder, like the one punch hitter?
Oh, do you know what? As much as I want to see the world, him in the world title, that fight is absolutely made for the fans, isn't it? The hardest punching heavyweight in the last, 40 odd years, maybe that statistically the hardest punching heavyweight ever, but certainly the hardest punching in the last 40 years against the guy who's got the best chin in that division as a pro. Amazing fight. I mean, I'd love to see that. I mean, that is a real, that's one to salivate over.
Yeah, that's frightening. That because if Wilder lands and Joe doesn't move, oh wow, that is interesting. Right. Final one from me. I just wanted to get on someone who potentially had fight of the year already in Anthony Yarde. Proved he was at world level. Mixed it in someone in Beterbiev who's an absolute animal, and it looks like he'll move on maybe to fight Bivol. But what's next for Anthony Yarde? What have you got in the pipeline for him?
He's resting up. I mean, it was a tremendous performance by him, and let's get it right. I didn't read anywhere or anyone who was saying that it was not going to be a walkover as far as most people's concerned. I knew he would give him a lot of problems, and he showed that he deserves to be in that company. Now, Beterbiev now is 38, so I don't know how long he's going to be around. As you say, he's going to fight Bivol. Anthony definitely has an opportunity of becoming world champion. I believe he'll be a better fighter after that fight. He's got more self-belief. Although he lost it, but he's got more belief that he deserves to be in that company. And he'll be out again sometime in June in a decent fight. Who knows? If we can get the Buatsi fight, and we'd love to do that. But in a big fight, I want to get him in a big fight, and that's what he wants. He's shown he deserves it, and shown that he certainly deserves to be in the company.
100%. Buatsi then still on the radar for Anthony Yarde?
I'd like to do it, but look, it takes two to tango, and we've had a lot of problems trying to get fights together. We invariably get them there. Sometimes it's a bit, some are more difficult than others, but whatever happens, Anthony will be out, and we're in the Anthony Yarde business, and he will be out and he'll be fighting.
Well, Frank, I appreciate you giving us some of your time today. It's always good to have a catch up, and hopefully we can do it a bit more regularly. Appreciate it.
Leave it to you. I'm around. I'm not going anywhere at the moment. I'm too old to go anywhere. I have to sit on this seat. So you let me know when, and I'll be there. They'll wheel me out for you.
Appreciate it, Frank. Thanks for talking to Boxing Social.
Lovely. Have a lovely weekend.